Hello everybody, welcome back. Craig Peterson here. I hope you're on my email list. I want to keep everybody up to date. We've got some training for you guys. You're the cavalry, right? You're the people who come in to help fix the problems with small business computers. Maybe you're responsible for them. Maybe you're the owner of the business, right? And you're responsible for making sure that everything's running right, choosing the right technology and stuff. I appreciate you all being with me, and I have some special training coming up for you as well. But you need to be on my email list if you are going to find out about the training. And the way to do that is just go to craigpeterson.com/subscribe. Of course, Peterson, S-O-N, P-E-T-R-S-O-N. Just like it sounds, craigpeterson.com/subscribe. And you'll get my weekly emails outlining the biggest threats that are out there right now, and all of the articles that we talked about in the show, and more. There's always a few more that I just don't get to, but they are all important. People love it, and as I mentioned before, we get a very good open rate. In fact, the best in the industry. That's how good this newsletter is, and I provide it absolutely free, and I provide a lot of these trainings absolutely free. In fact, all of my tutorials are available on my website as well at craigpeterson.com. I got to clean that up too, right? I build websites for some of the biggest organizations in the world, and mine really is very sad. I got to get my act together. Oh, well, there's always something else to do, right? It's the cobbler's kids. Well, let's get into ransomware because it is on the rise again. But let's start with a little history because I think this is kind of cool when you get right into it. And there's an article that I started reading over at CSO Online that reminded me of it, and you'll see a link to it as well on my website at craigpeterson.com, and in this morning's newsletter. Hopefully you did get that. But it really started, this ransomware thing, back in 1991. There is a biologist who was doing research on AIDS. And he was kind of upset that other people who were also doing research on AIDS, and he wanted more credit than he was getting. And he started sending out, quote, AIDS research, unquote, on floppy disks via U.S. mail back in 91 to other AIDS researchers. And it had a piece of malware on there called PC Cyborg. And it really was the first ransomware that we know of. Isn't that something, right? It was these researchers kind of competing, at least this one researcher competing. And then the next big one, and this one used encryption, was back in the aughts. Back in the mid-aughts, about 2005. It was called Archivius. And it used encryption, and it's been defeated. You can find its password over in Wikipedia even nowadays. Now, in the 2010s, we started seeing a series of what are called police ransomware packages. And they were warnings from law enforcement about victims' illicit activities and demanded payment of fines. So this was a new generation of anonymous payment services that they started to use to be able to better harvest payments without getting caught. And of course, this was some of the Bitcoin and some of these other types of services that allow you to send money semi-anonymously. And remember that, right? It is not totally anonymous. The FBI and the Secret Service have worked together to arrest people who have been using Bitcoin illegally for these types of anonymous transactions. And there was a new trend that really started to emerge, and that was cryptocurrencies. In fact, besides the illegal activities that occurred to drive up the price of cryptocurrencies artificially to begin with, the other big drive for cryptocurrencies has been ransomware, because people need to pay ransoms, or at least they want to pay ransoms. And so how do they do it? Well, that's what the criminals started to use, and extortionists just absolutely love them because they are designed to be relatively untraceable and relatively anonymous, right? So they started shifting their demands to other currencies. It's also nice because then they don't have to worry about, well, what's the value if you're in France and it's a euro, or you're in Britain and it's a pound sterling, US dollar, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar. No, the value of cryptocurrency is pretty much flat no matter what currency you're using. And the attacks started really shooting up about that point in time. But as of a couple of years ago in 2018, the ransomware boom seemed to be kind of on its way out. And there were other illicit ways that people were using to snag Bitcoin. And one of them is still in use today, and that is to have something on your browser that starts to use your browser to do Bitcoin mining for them. Okay. They were also looking for Bitcoin wallets. Cryptojacking became very popular, and this is something that denial of service attackers have been using for years. They gain control of the computers without the users, the owners of the computers knowing. And with cryptojacking, ransomware declined, but cryptojacking shot up 450%. So they're using your electricity, they're using your computer in order to have this whole the whole thing of having you mine for Bitcoin. And of course, today, and it's not just Bitcoin, it's other cryptocurrencies, but today, many of these cryptocurrencies, it is very expensive to do mining because most of the coins, the easy coins, have all been found. So that's part of the reason they want to use your computer, but even then, the payback isn't as big as it used to be. So now we're starting to see two big drivers behind this massive surge recently in ransomware. So the first has to do with the vagaries of the cryptocurrency pricing. Many of the cryptojackers were using the victims' computers to mine this open source Monero currency. But Monero prices have been dropping. Bitcoin prices have dropped dramatically as well, although now with some of the literal viruses like the COVID-19, some of them are going up because people are moving their money into gold and into some cryptocurrencies. But Monero prices have started dropping, and the bad guys have started to realize that mining cryptocurrency is not going to be as rewarding as ransomware. Attackers already compromised victims' computer with Trojan downloaders. And so they just launched ransomware attacks when the time was right. It took them only about a year, 18 months to really make a U-turn. This is just fascinating when you get right into it, and we've seen a lot of them over the years, and how they have attacked businesses. And they've always used this kind of spray and pray tactic of try and send out this ransomware to as many computers as possible, as many people as possible, hoping that they are going to be successful. But they haven't had a big return on investment. They've been going more and more against us by going directly, right? Using phishing, spear phishing techniques, and other types of targeted attacks. So I want to take a brief look here at some of the biggest attack methods that are out there. SamSam is number one right now. It started appearing about 5 years ago. It's really ramped up. They're expecting it to go even higher. Some high-profile victims of SamSam, I should say, Colorado Department of Transportation, City of Atlanta, who's been hit multiple times by it. Talking about incompetence, eh? Numerous healthcare facilities, hospitals. This is ransomware as a service, where people are designing the ransomware, they're selling it to anybody who has the money, and they even provide tech support for people who get the ransomware. Isn't that just amazing? It was originally thought to have Eastern European origin, but now it's really going in the U.S. We've got some Iranians who are claiming to be involved with it as well. We've got Ryok, PureLocker, many more. So Be careful out there. Ransomware is on the rise, and backups aren't even successful in protecting you anymore. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about that, and of course a whole lot more. So stick around. Craig Peterson here on WGAN.